Hello everyone. Good evening and Merry Christmas to you all wherever you are. Tonight I will be reading a short story I wrote called Christmas Eve 1918, a sequel to A Dog of Flanders. I dedicate this story to Robert Loja, now passed, Sean Young, and to my friends and followers on YouTube, Brady Bloom and Debbie Derryberry. If you are watching this, please be sure to like my video, subscribe, and also leave a comment. I appreciate comments. Here we go now. It started at an army base, somewhere in the U.S. state of Kansas. It quickly spread around the world without warning. Everyone, regardless of their race or social status, felt its deadly effect. A severe strain of influenza, unlike any seen before, had spread throughout the world, sickening and killing people with no warning, no stopping, and no mercy. After World War I drew to a close on November 11th, 1918, more people were dying of this virus than all the soldiers on the battlefield. Men, women, and children were falling ill and dying so fast that people ran out of options to dispose of the bodies. The pandemic actually began in mid-1918, before the armistice, but no one knew about it because the press kept it silent for fear of weakening morale. Spain, however, was a neutral country and was the first to report this outbreak. This is because the press wasn't censored, unlike other countries, so this earned the pandemic the misleading moniker of the Spanish flu. Belgium was no different. Within weeks, death gripped this small nation the size of Wyoming between France and the Netherlands as it had the rest of the world. Sister Aloa Cosette's, a nun living in a convent in the riverside city of Antwerp, worked to care for those suffering from the flu, only to contract it herself. Like other poor souls, she was bedridden and suffering from the effects of the influenza virus. Growing weaker, it was estimated that she would die within weeks. Soon it became clear that death would more likely come to her in days. And as the weather got colder and Christmas approached, it was clear that she would not live any longer. On Christmas Eve of 1918, she was lying in her bed in the flu ward of the St. Benedict Hospice, slowly dying from her condition. Earlier that day, a priest had come to give her the last rites, when a light suddenly appeared by her bedside, and there she saw the glowing apparitions of a young boy with blonde hair and a dog. She recognized the apparitions as the spirits of her old friend from childhood, Nello, and his dog, Patrache. They had died on Christmas Eve 46 years ago, 150 years by now. But there they were, standing by her bedside as her eyes were slowly closing. Aloha, tonight you shall join us in heaven, and we can be together once again, Nello told the nun. Aloha then turned to Nello and said, Nello, I have been waiting for you. As midnight struck, Nello reached out and took Aloha by the hand as she reverted to her childhood self as they ascended into the sky, all the way to heaven where they would be together forever. In the early hours of Christmas morning, the priest had discovered that Sister Cosette had died from the flu and covered her body with a sheet. He called for the light shower, or coroner, to remove her body. The light shower's truck parked outside the convent as Aloha's body was carried out in a simple wooden casket by two men. The casket was placed in the back with some other bodies of those who had died from influenza, and the doors were closed. The truck then drove off to the morgue. That night, Aloha's funeral was held at the cathedral, with only her fellow nuns and clergy members attending to stop the spread of this deadly virus. She was buried in her family's mausoleum in a small cemetery in Hoboken alongside her late mother and father. Now, No one had seen the spirits of Nello and Patrash appear besides Eloa's bed, besides her and an orderly who claimed that he saw them himself. The orderly's name has since been lost to history, but clearly, whoever he was able to see what most people cannot see. There are some people like this with a sixth sense of seeing the unseen. And ladies and gentlemen, happy 150 years of A Dog of Flanders, and Merry Christmas to you all. Stay healthy.